When I was a boy, I lived with my grandfather and my little sister, Emily. We had a small house in the city. It wasn't big, but it was our home. Grandfather took care of us. He cooked for us, told us stories at night, and loved us very much. I felt safe with him. I felt happy. Every morning, Emily and I went to school. Grandfather woke us up early and made breakfast. We sat at the table and ate together. He always smiled and said, "Eat well, grow strong." After breakfast, we walked to school while Grandfather stood at the door, waving until we disappeared down the street. After school, we played in the park. Sometimes we ran, other times we sat under a tree and talked about our dreams. Emily wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pilot. We laughed and made big plans. When the sun set, we returned home. Grandfather would be waiting with warm food, and we'd eat and talk. Life was simple. Life was good. But one day, everything changed. I woke up early to a quiet house, too quiet. I went to the kitchen, but Grandfather wasn't there. The stove was cold. There was no breakfast. My heart felt strange. I walked to his room. The door was open, and he was in bed, awake but not moving. His face was pale, and his hands looked weak. I called his name, softly. He opened his eyes and tried to smile. "I'm okay," he whispered, but I knew he wasn't. He looked tired. His voice was soft. I felt afraid. Emily came in and looked at Grandfather. Her eyes were wide and she grabbed my hand. "What's wrong?" she asked. I didn't know how to answer. I didn't want to scare her, but I was scared too. Grandfather was old and sick. He needed help, but we had no one. It was just us. I ran to the neighbor's house and knocked on her door. "Please help," I said. She saw my face and knew something was wrong. She followed me back and after seeing Grandfather said, "He needs a doctor." She called an ambulance. The doctors came quickly and took Grandfather to the hospital. Emily and I watched as they carried him out. The house felt empty and quiet again, but not in a good way. We sat on the sofa in silence and waited. At the hospital, we sat in a waiting room with hard chairs and bright lights. People passed by, some tired, some worried. A nurse told us to wait and then left. Time moved slowly. I held Emily's hand. She looked at the floor. I wanted to be strong for her, but inside, I felt small. Finally, a doctor came. He had a kind face and told us Grandfather was very sick and weak. He needed rest. I asked if we could see him. The doctor smiled gently and said yes, but only for a short time. We walked down a long hallway that smelled like medicine. In the room, Grandfather was in bed with a tube in his arm. His eyes were closed. He looked so small. Emily ran to his side and called out. He opened his eyes and smiled weakly. "My little ones," he whispered. I sat beside him. "You scared us," I said. He gave a small laugh and coughed. "I'm okay," he whispered. "Just tired." He looked at us with love and said, "You must be brave. Take care of each other." His words felt heavy. A nurse entered and said he needed rest. Emily hugged Grandfather, and I held his hand. Then we left. The walk home was quiet. The sky was dark, the streets empty. Emily held my hand tightly. "What will we do?" she asked. I had no answer. I just squeezed her hand. The house felt different without Grandfather. Quiet, but not the good kind. It was empty. We sat at the table. There was no warm food, no laughter. I missed his voice and his stories. Emily rested her head on the table. "When will he come back?" she asked. "Soon," I said, but I wasn't sure. The next morning I tried to make breakfast. The eggs burned. The bread was too hard. Emily sat and watched. She took a small bite. "It's not like Grandfather's," she said. She was right. Nothing felt the same. We walked to school. The streets were busy, but I felt alone. At school, I couldn't focus. The teacher's voice was just noise. My mind was at the hospital. I wanted to see grandfather, to know if he was better. At lunch, Emily sat with me. She picked at her food. "I don't feel hungry," she said. I understood. I didn't feel hungry either. When school ended, we walked home. The sun was warm, but I felt cold inside. I stopped at the door. I didn't want to go in. The house felt sad. But Emily was tired. She needed rest. We went inside. I tried to smile for her. "Let's do homework," I said. She nodded, but my mind wasn't on homework. It was on grandfather. That evening, the phone rang. It was the hospital. A nurse said grandfather was stable but needed to stay longer. My heart sank. I wanted him home. I wanted things to go back to normal. "Can we visit him?" I asked. She said yes. I felt a little better. The next day, we visited again. Grandfather was tired but smiled when he saw us. "How are my little ones?" he asked. Emily hugged him. I sat beside him and said, "We miss you." He touched my hand. "I miss you too." He looked at me and said, "You must be strong. Take care of Emily." His words stayed in my heart. When we left, the sky was orange and pink. "I wish grandfather could come home," Emily said. "Me too," I replied. But deep down, I knew we had to be ready for a new life. Days passed. Grandfather didn't come home. We visited him after school. He was always happy to see us. "Are you eating well?" he asked. I nodded, but it wasn't true. My food wasn't good. Emily barely ate. Grandfather sighed. "Take care of yourselves," he said gently. One afternoon, I came home tired. Emily sat on the sofa, hugging her knees. "I don't like this," she said. "I want grandfather back." I sat beside her. "Me too," I said. "But we have to be patient." She looked at me sadly. "What if he never comes back?" she whispered. I didn't know what to say. I just held her hand. That night, I thought about our future. Grandfather was sick. We had no money. We needed food. We needed to stay in school. I felt scared. But I looked at Emily, small, innocent. I had to be strong. I had to do something. The next morning, I made a decision. After school, I would look for work. I told Emily. She looked worried. "But you're just a boy," she said. "Who will give you a job?" I didn't know, but I had to try. After school, I walked through the streets. I asked at a bakery, but the man said I was too young. My heart sank. I tried a grocery store next. A woman was arranging vegetables. I asked if she needed help. She looked at me, then said, "I can't pay much, but you can clean." My heart lifted. "I'll do it," I said. She gave me a broom and told me to start. That night I came home tired but proud. Emily's eyes lit up. "Did you find a job?" she asked. "Yes," I smiled. "It's not much, but it's a start." She hugged me. I felt strong. For the first time, I believed we could do this. The next day, I worked again. I cleaned the floor, wiped the shelves, carried heavy boxes. My arms hurt, but I didn't stop. At the end of the day, she gave me a few coins and smiled. It wasn't much, but it meant something. When I came home, Emily asked softly, "Are you very tired?" I nodded, but I smiled. "It's okay," I said. "We'll be fine." She looked at the coins. "Can we buy food?" "Yes," I said. We went to the market. We bought bread, milk, fruit, cheese. It felt good to buy something with my own money. The next morning, I made breakfast. It was simple, but Emily ate everything. "It's better than before," she said. I laughed. "I'm learning." We walked to school. I felt older. I had a job now. I wasn't just a boy. I was someone who could help. At school, I tried harder. I wanted to earn more. When the bell rang, I ran to work. The woman smiled. You are a good worker. Do you want to work every day? Yes, please, I said. My heart felt light. This was only a start, but it mattered. That night, we ate together. The house was still quiet, but not as empty. You're doing great, Emily said with a soft smile. I felt proud. I wasn't afraid anymore. Life had changed, but we were getting stronger. That night, I sat by the window. The stars were bright. I thought of grandfather. I missed him. I wanted him home, but I knew I had to be patient. Tomorrow was a new day, and I was ready. A week later, we received good news. The hospital said grandfather was getting better and could come home soon. Emily and I were so happy. We had learned how to take care of ourselves, but we still missed him. When he came back, we told him everything. He smiled and said, "You two have grown up. I am proud of you." And for the first time in a long time, I felt truly happy. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Before we go, let me leave you with this. Learning English isn't just about memorizing words or grammar rules. It's about connecting with people, just like Sarah did on her trip. So keep practicing, stay curious, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. See you in the next video.